Look at yourself for a second. No claws, no fangs worth mentioning. You can't outrun almost anything. Your skin tears easily. You have no armor, no venom, no horns. If you dropped a naked human into a landscape full of lions, hyenas, and leopards, the honest prediction is that you wouldn't last a week. And yet, for hundreds of thousands of years, that was exactly the situation. Our ancestors lived surrounded by animals that were faster, stronger, and built to kill things like us. So how did we not just survive that, but end up the ones running the planet? The answer isn't strength, it's stranger than that. Let's start by being honest about how bad it was, because we have proof, real proof, with teeth marks in it. There's a famous fossil from South Africa known as the tongue child, a young early hominin skull around 2.5 million years old. For decades, everyone assumed the child has been killed by a big cat. Then researchers took a closer look at the damage, puncture marks in the eye sockets, and a specific pattern of scratches on the skull. That pattern matches what large birds of prey leave behind. The best current interpretation is that the tongue child was killed by an eagle. An eagle! Our ancestors were small enough and vulnerable enough that birds carried their children away. And there's more. At Swartkrans, another South African site, hominin bones turn up with paired puncture holes in them. Researchers compared the spacing to the lower canine teeth of a leopard, and they match. The likeliest explanation is grim and simple. Leopards were dragging our ancestors into trees to eat them, the same way leopards still stash kills today. And it wasn't only cats and birds. The landscape our ancestors lived in was stacked with predators that no longer exist. Hyenas far larger than the ones alive today. Sabre-toothed cats. Bears bigger than anything you've seen. Packs of hunting dogs. This wasn't a nature documentary with one lion in it. It was a crowded, competitive environment where several different species all wanted the same meat. And we were both a competitor for that meat and the possible source of it. Only the first 999 subscribers get to say they were here before this channel blew up. Subscribe and comment early so I know who was here from day one. Don't miss your spot. So let's kill the movie version right now. Early humans were not apex predators strolling through the savannah. For a very long time, we were prey. We were on the menu. Which raises the real question, how does an animal that weak survive a world like that for hundreds of thousands of years? The first answer is the one nobody finds impressive, and is probably the most important. Other people. A lone human is an easy meal. A group of 20 humans is a completely different proposition. Not because any of them is dangerous, but because a group has something no individual has. Eyes in every direction, all the time. Someone is always looking the way you aren't. Predators are, above all, efficient. A lion is not looking for a fight, it's looking for a cheap meal. And a target that has already seen you, that is making noise, that is standing with a lot of other targets who are also now looking at you, is not cheap. It's a risk of injury, and for a wild predator, an injury is a slow death sentence. That's the whole game. Our ancestors didn't have to beat predators. They just had to be expensive. And groups do something else too. They let you sleep. A single animal alone has to stay half alert all night, which is exhausting and eventually fatal. A group can rotate. Some sleep deeply while others don't. Deep, proper rest is not a luxury. It's a requirement for a brain like ours, and you only get it if somebody else is watching the dark for you. A surprising amount of what makes us human might come down to the simple fact that we could afford to fully lose consciousness at night. And this shaped us in ways you can still feel. There's a reason being alone in the dark feels different to being with someone in the dark. There's a reason the sound of something moving into the bushes freezes you in place before you consciously decide anything. That reflex isn't irrational. It's the surviving edge of a very long period when the thing in the bushes was frequently real. Then there's the second answer, and is the one that actually changed the balance of power. Fire. We don't know exactly when humans mastered fire. The evidence is argued over constantly, but there is strong evidence of controlled fire use going back hundreds of thousands of years at sites like Wonderwar Cave in South Africa and Kesem Cave in Israel. And fire does something no tooth or claw can do. Almost every animal on Earth is instinctively afraid of it. Nothing hunts into a fire. So when a group of humans sits inside a ring of firelight, they have effectively built a wall out of light. A wall that also cooks food, dries clothing, provides warmth, and lets you see what's coming. Think about the shift that represents. Before fire, night was the most dangerous part of existence. Most big cats see far better in the dark than you do. Sunset meant handing the world over to things with better eyes. Fire took the night back. It's one of the few moments in evolutionary history where a species just changed the rules. The third thing is the weapon, and specifically the weapon you can use from a distance. Here is why that matters so much. Almost every predator on Earth has to close the distance to kill. Teeth and claws require contact, which means a predator is only dangerous inside a certain radius. Humans broke that radius. There is a set of wooden spears found at Schöningen in Germany, roughly 3000 years old. They're carefully made, shaped, balanced, with a weight forward like a modern javelin. These aren't sharpened sticks. These are engineered projectiles made by people who understood aerodynamics well enough to build a thing that flies straight. And later, throwing spears, athlets, and eventually bows extend that distance further and further. At some point, our ancestors became the only animal on the planet that could reliably hurt something it wasn't touching. That completely inverts the relationship. A leopard has to reach you. You don't have to reach the leopard. And there's a second layer to it, which is that a distance weapon doesn't even need to land to work. A predator that gets hit once by something thrown from far away learns a lesson it cannot afford to test twice. Wild carnivores are extremely risk-averse. You don't have to kill a leopard to change its behavior. You just have to make it decide that your group specifically is not worth it. And predators absolutely make that calculation, individually, about specific places and specific prey. Fourth, and this one is generally underrated, we could read the landscape. Predators rely on ambush and on you being unaware, so the counter isn't strength, it's information. And humans are extraordinarily good at extracting information from almost nothing. A print in the mud tells you what animal passed, roughly how heavy it was, which direction it went, and how long ago. A scratch on a tree, disturbed birds, a silence where there should be sound. Modern hunter-gatherer trackers can reconstruct entire events from marks most people would walk straight past. That's not magic, it's a skill, taught and refined across generations. And it means our ancestors were rarely surprised. Predators need surprise. Take that away and you've disarmed them. Fifth, we don't stop. And this one's weird enough that it deserves its own section. Humans are endurance animals. We are bad sprinters, but we're among the best distance movers of any large mammal. Because we cool ourselves by sweating across bare skin, while most animals cool themselves by panting, which they can't do properly at full speed. That's usually mentioned in the context of hunting, but it works defensively too. It means a human group can keep moving when other animals have to stop. It means you can leave a dangerous area at a steady pace under a midday sun that pins predators in the shade. Sixth, and probably the most important of all, we could tell each other things. This is the invisible weapon. Every other animal learns about danger by encountering it. If you're an antelope, you learn about a specific waterhole being dangerous by nearly dying at that waterhole. There's no other way to get the information. Humans just say it out loud. One person sees a leopard near the ridge. 20 people know within a minute. And this is the part that changes everything. People who weren't even there know. People not yet born will know, because it becomes a story, and the story gets repeated, and eventually don't go near the ridge at dusk. It's simply something everyone in the group grows up knowing without ever having seen a leopard at all. That's a survival advantage no other species has. Every human who learns something dangerous could hand that knowledge to everyone else for free. Language turned individual close calls into group-wide immunity, and then gradually it flipped. There's a real shift visible in the archaeological record. Early on, hominin bones show up as prey, chewed, punctured, dragged into caves by carnivores. Later, the same landscapes show us hunting large animals systematically, controlling fire, occupying the good shelter sites, and driving competing carnivores out of them. Nobody declared the winner. It just slowly stopped being the case that a leopard could take a human without consequences. Because now the human had a group, and firelight, and a spear that worked at 20 meters, and friends who knew exactly where that leopard lived. Now, an honest cave it, because this stuff gets oversimplified constantly. We can watch any of this happen. We are reading bite marks, tool wear, burnt sediment, and animal bones, and building the most reasonable story that fits. The town child eagle theory is a strong interpretation, not a filmed event. The exact date fire was controlled is genuinely disputed. Anyone who tells you the timeline is settled is overselling it. But the overall shape holds, and that shape is this. We didn't outmuscle anything. We outgrouped it, outplanned it, outranged it, and outcommunicated it. Every single one of those advantages is a social one, not a body part. There is no organ in you that does any of this. Groups, fire tending, tool making, tracking knowledge, language, all of it exists between people rather than inside one, which means the thing that got us through was never really an individual human at all. It was the group as a unit. The reason you find loneliness genuinely painful in a physical, measurable way is that for most of our history, being alone was not sad. It was fatal. Here's the part I'd leave you with. The tension situation is still sitting inside you. It's why you feel watched in a dark room. It's why a sudden noise behind you triggers a full body reaction before your thoughts catch up. It's why humans universally feel calmer sitting around a fire, and why a fire at night still feels like safety even though nothing in your life is hunting you. You inherited the nervous system of an animal that spent a very long time being eaten. It's not broken. It's just still running in a world where it finally, mostly, doesn't need to. If this made you look at the dark a little differently, you know what to do. I'm Fred. I'll see you in the next one.